On SLA family, welcome back to another video, guys. All right, so I gotta bring this topic up because I think a lot of you guys have been bringing it up in comment sections, and it's been interesting. Now, outside of the fact that the game has been super dry, probably the driest I've ever seen it, which is the silliest thing I could possibly think of for a 1-year anniversary for the game to be this dead. Now, I'm talking about whether it's from content creators' numbers, whether it's from content that we're just getting in general from the game. But there is something that I do want to bring up with the 1-year anniversary that's been a very hot topic actually with a lot of comments, and it's a dreaded word that unfortunately nobody likes to use, nobody really wants to talk about, but it exists in every single gacha, and that is the word power creep. Yeah, power creep, that's right. Now, if you don't know what that word is, I'm going to enlighten you a little bit. Now, power creep is essentially when you have a slew of characters or weapons or armor or whatever in the game that exists that is considered meta, and then something else comes out, and eventually just takes over, and that once powerful item is now no longer powerful and is replaced by something else. That is what power creep is. Power creep exists literally in every single gacha. I can't think of one gacha that power creep doesn't exist in, and this is something that everybody needs to get used to. Right now, this is a topic that is usually extremely volatile and extremely toxic, but it needs to be brought up right now. Why am I bringing this up now? Payne, what are you doing now, bro? What kind of shit you stirring? I'm not trying to stir anything, but I do need to talk about it. Now, I believe Materia brought out a video on this already to some extent. I unfortunately didn't get to watch it. Sorry, Materia. You've been calling me the GAY word in every other video every time I talk about you. So we're gonna leave this one out because I haven't actually had a chance to watch it, but I would assume it's gonna go something like this. Power creep is here now, and it's here to stay. Now, what prime examples of power creep, right? It's been going on for quite some time, guys. Let's be real. Weapons is the newest thing I think that's really opened up a lot of people's eyes in regards to how this exists and how it affects the game. And what I'm referring to specifically is the Stormbringer and how it's pretty much dethroned the Plum Sword to some extent, of course, right? Because the Plum Sword is still useful for other days like POD, BOT, whenever Dark Day's around. Guild Boss, it might still be very useful for, but for the most part, it's no longer considered the main weapon that people will use to do anything. It's going to be more the Stormbringer. And of course, other things as well. Even for event weapons, like the Golden Tail Fox pretty much outshadowed every single free event weapon out there. Forest didn't do quite as well. And then when you look at the staff, which kind of outpowered a lot of things. We have like, what else? I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, Kasaka daggers, which was a free weapon, beat out a pay-to-win weapon, for goodness sakes, in the Scatty. So I mean, it's been going on for quite some time. But honestly, I will say this: this game isn't over the top power creep. It does exist for sure. To say it doesn't is naive, but it doesn't fully go to the same extent as many other gachas do. And I'll talk shortly about what I'm referring to and why this is something that everyone should expect. Now, before I do this, of course, I do want to bring up the usual, guys. Content creator program still going on as usual. Still another couple weeks left. We got 3 active codes. I send them out every single day. So if you are a new supporter, please check the webpage. You should see under the coupon history, there's 3 codes. Another one is on its way very soon. Plus, we have ourselves 2 more codes after this to get you guys in a total of 8 codes this season. 2 already being inactive, 3 currently active, with 3 more to come. So please, guys, click that support button. Remember to like, subscribe, and enjoy the video, guys. Now, this is a big deal. All right, power creep exists because I know a lot of people who play this game, this is their first gacha. And by gacha, again, going back to terminology terms, that is a game that has loot boxes or chances to win by being pay to win, or using currency to have a chance to get a character or a weapon or a loot item that you want. That's what a gacha essentially is. It's whenever you're using a random number generator, aka RNG, to accomplish something that you're looking for, whether again it's a character, weapon, etc. Now, this game's power creep is a little different though. Right? If we look at Hunters, for example, the power creep didn't occur for a very, very long time until Kanae kind of came out and Thomas came out. Those were the 2 of the biggest power creeps, really. If you look at everyone else between there, the roster pretty much stayed fairly consistent for almost about 6 months, which again is not bad for a game, right? I think about the 8-month mark to 9-month mark is when you really started seeing power creep in the fact that Kanae came out. 6 months, I guess Thomas was also released. So let's go back. 6 months, I think, is when the power creep really happened. Thomas was the first real actual power creep. But the funny thing about Thomas was he only showed up in a lot of team battles because people who built Cha the right way and invested in Cha still ended up actually having a very, very similar effect as Thomas in regards to DPS. Thomas destroyed Guild Boss. He did when he first came out, but Cha was still doing insane numbers when it came down to like WOBLs. She's way better in BOTs. Still to this day, she's way better in BOTs. So even a first day global unit is still very relevant in a lot of the content. So this is why I'm saying that the power creep aspect of this game is not as bad, but it does exist, right? And I think we're now starting to see that power creep becoming a little bit more noticeable. So Kanae was the first real unit power creep in my opinion. She blew everyone else out of the water for every content, literally, whether it was BOT, POD, BOTs being Battlefield of Time, of course, PODs being Power of Destruction, Guild Boss, you name it. She was just absolutely Simulation Gate. She was destroying it. So it did exist. It just started happening about almost the real power creep, I'd say, almost started happening about 9 months in. Because again, if you go back and you take a look at like Mei Lin, who's still one of the best supports in the game, Min, who's still one of the best supports in the game, they're almost OG characters, right? So as much as people want to hate on the power creep, I think we've been fairly lucky to say that they've been doing a good job. Now, I will say this though, they're going up a very slippery slope now with the way power creep is coming in more and more now. There's no longer that large gap of time between a power creep character and an old character. So a prime example of this is simply like Alicia was an OG character. She was an OG, like she was the first released OG character from global, not early access, because that's Emma, from global, right? She was the first OG character. She literally rocked the game for months, but then was easily replaced after a while and then never to be seen. Now, what happened in the past was Netmarble would normally have buffed some of the older characters to kind of make them viable again. Alicia never got that buff. Instead, what they did is they simply brought out Cha and replaced Alicia completely. Now, this is the norm. All right, I want to make sure everybody understands this. That is the norm. This is how gachas work. Their whole goal, guys, is to reach into your pockets, make you want this character, and take your money away from you. That is their goal. That is the business model of every gacha. Netmarble has done a great job in keeping that in check for the most part, but at the same time, honeymoon phase is over, folks. It is. It's over now, right? Things are not as free-to-play friendly as they used to be, and that's a fact. I can't even deny that. As much as I defend this game very much as one of the best and most free-to-play friendly games out there, it's not as free-to-play friendly as it was. Not to mention as well, they also weren't very generous on their 1-year anniversary. Their 6-month anniversary gave 2 free gun he's plus a weapon of his, and we got no free units this time around of the actual raid up unit, right? We got 2 free SSR hunters, which is still amazing, don't get me wrong. We just never got the free raid up unit, which a lot of people were a little bit upset about. I think Netmarble could have thrown us a free Cha to say congratulations. But again, rewards wasn't their problem. The content is their problem, and the anniversary rewards are great. The content was definitely where the dry spell is. So for those who are wondering why I'm bringing this up, I'm starting to notice a lot of people complaining about this. Now you have to remember, it's like, I always say this for gachas, it's like real life. When you have an iPhone 13 and a 14 comes out, you know that 13 is more than good enough to get the job done, but you want the 14 because it's the newest best thing. This is exactly how gachas function. They give you that FOMO that you have to feel inside you, and you want the next best thing. That's what Cha is. Cha is the next best thing, right? So can you finish the job with Alicia? Probably not, to be honest. I don't think Alicia can get the job done with hard mode demo. So she's almost, this power creep is a true power creep, but the point still stands, right? A lot of these newer units, they're not necessary, but they are going to be the newest best thing that a lot of players who like to have the newest best thing will want. And this goes down to the newest weapon, right? Now, I personally had to make a choice on my free-to-play account. Did I want the Stormbringer or did I want the Winter Fang? I personally chose Stormbringer for a reason, because of 2 things. Number one, I have a better DKD, right, which is A10 on my free-to-play, and I have the skills at Legendary for my wind skill. So I have Vacuum Wave at Legendary, I have Wind Shroud at Legendary, and I have High Speed Rotation at Legendary. That was what made me make this choice. It wasn't because I knew one weapon was better than the other, or I knew, I predicted the future like Miss Cleo, my alter ego. No, that wasn't the case at all. All I did was I simply deducted, hey, how good are the water skills for SJW? They suck. Let's be honest. They're horrible, right? So what made more sense is because this is a wind buffing weapon. That's what I thought. Now it buffs everything. I went with Stormbringer. Now, people are like, well, Winterfang is a mid weapon. It's actually not a mid weapon. It's actually a pretty damn strong weapon. For those who are saying it's mid, you're either not using it correctly or you just don't know how to use it properly in terms of the blessings you need to set up or the stats. The weapon is strong AF. It really is. But is it the best weapon in the game? Absolutely not. So this is a prime example of something that is a power creep for every water weapon that exists. Like nothing Grimoire exists. The Grimoire will not stand up to it. Scatty will not stand up to it. Truth Kasaka Venom Fangs won't stand up to it. So this is technically a power creep. Yeah, it is going to beat out all the water weapons, but water was already pretty shit as it was. So we're really not beating out too much. But is it going to beat out the Stormbringer? No. Is it going to beat out the staff? Probably not. Is it going to beat out DKD? Maybe. It probably might beat out DKD because, I mean, it's got a little bit more power to it. But outside of that, the power creep's not that over the top. Now, again, I am not defending Netmarble with the way they handle things. It is a gacha company, though. I just want people to understand that. And I just want people to understand that the power creep is a very normal part of the gacha sphere. If you're not a fan of this, you're playing the wrong game. That's just reality of it, right? Because eventually, like, Leonard may come out and make Mireille nullified. He may make her irrelevant again. Right? And this has happened in the past where Alicia became irrelevant the moment Chalk came out. As a matter of fact, Alicia's been irrelevant for a while. Right? And then other hunters as well, too. Like, if you take a look at it, like, even with Fire, again, Kanae made everyone else irrelevant in terms of DPS. Right? There's other people who still have roles, but she made everybody else from a Fire perspective relevant, except for Yusugen. Of course, Yusugen plays a big part because of Essel. Right? And if you, again, look at Gun-He, for example. Gun-He made Beck irrelevant. Literally. Beck was never used again, right? He was the breaker for light because we had no other choice, and then Gun-He came out completely destroyed him, right? So again, guys, this is a normal part of gachas. It exists. It's just not over the top with Netmarble. So I'm curious what you guys think. Am I being crazy here when I say this? Do I think that Netmarble is pretty decent about their power creep, or do you guys find that they're too aggressive with it? This is just my take, of course, right, guys? There's no right or wrong take here. This is just one man's take who has 15 years of gacha under his belt and has seen power creep up the wazoo, and I've quit games very quickly when I've seen this happen. And some of those games actually existed from Netmarble. So I'm not defending Netmarble in general. I'm just defending this team from Netmarble who's handling the IP here. Yes, the content is dry. Yes, it's been shit lately. But do I think power creep has been a major issue in this game? Not necessarily. I think they've done a good job keeping it under control, but I am telling you now, it is coming, and it's coming hard. Take that however you will. And it's going to definitely change the landscape of the game going forward. I think 1 year anniversaries and forward are usually a big stepping stone for a lot of games to then now take the big elevational step to going major on power creep. So guys, going forward, we're probably going to see Leonard replace somebody in Wind pretty majorly. I'm probably going to see Jinna replace somebody in Dark for sure. Dark needs it though. And then going forward, every other element, I think going up to the next 2 year anniversary, we're probably going to see power creep take over. And then some of these units are no longer going to be viable. Anyways, guys, just a big yap fest, but hey, I thought I'd get my mind off this because a lot of people wanted me to talk about it, and here it is. That's my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.